NFL free agency is just hours away, so let's do some quarterback predictions today. I'm going to be breaking down all the top names about to hit the open market and where I think they land for the 2024 NFL season. We're going to be talking about my prediction for Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson, even Justin Fields today. So make sure you strap in. It's going to be a fun one. But before we get into today's show, make sure you guys click that subscribe button because we are going live tomorrow starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We are going to be going live for our coverage of NFL free agency. The legal tampering period starts tomorrow. It's going to be a bunch of great stuff. We're going to learn a lot of big names, where they're going to be heading tomorrow. You're not going to want to miss it, so make sure you click that subscribe button right now for our live coverage of NFL free agency. So before we get into my predictions here, we actually did have some quarterback news hit the presses today, which is that Mac Jones, former first-round pick for the New England Patriots, is being sent to the Jacksonville Jaguars to be Trevor Lawrence's backup heading into 2024. They send a sixth-round pick to the Patriots in exchange for the former first-rounder. And honestly, guys, I think this is probably a good move for both parties, okay? Mac Jones was not going to be the answer for the Patriots moving forward at the quarterback position. They're likely taking a quarterback at number 3 overall, whether that be Drake May or Jaden Daniels, whoever falls to them. And then Mac Jones, I think that, this is an opportunity for him to go home. He's from the Jacksonville area, and he's going to be one of the better backups in the National Football League. So if you're Jacksonville, it really does seem like this is a year where the expectations are going to be ramped up a bit. They're going to try to make the playoffs and try to make a run with Trevor Lawrence leading the way. If Trevor, God forbid, gets hurt and can't finish this season, Mac Jones is the type of guy that can step in and can reasonably give you some pretty darn good quarterback play and keep your season alive. All right, so now let's get into the juicy stuff. Let's get into some predictions here. And let's start with the biggest name hitting the market this year, which is Kirk Cousins, coming off his Achilles tear, 35 years old. I do think he's going to go back to the Minnesota Vikings. All right, now the reports are saying he's going to make a decision tonight whether or not he is going to be returning to the Vikings. And for me personally, guys, as somebody that comes from Minnesota, I absolutely think it's something that the Vikings have to do here because it just doesn't make sense to let him outside the building. All right, if he wants guaranteed money, give him the guaranteed money, because if he leaves to go elsewhere, it's going to be $28.5 million in 2024 against your cap regardless. So you might as well pay him to be on your team instead of paying him to not be on your team, okay? So you need to get this done if you're the Minnesota Vikings, at least from my perspective. Also, if you're Kirk and you're really trying to win championships, he doesn't have a Super Bowl ring. He's been trying to do this for years. Minnesota is the spot for him, in my opinion, because he's got this system that he's really comfortable with head coach Kevin O'Connell. He's got 2 really good receiving weapons in Jordan Addison, of course, Justin Jefferson, assuming he does come back for the 2024 season. And you got TJ Hawkinson, a really good weapon over the middle at tight end as well. So I do think this is the place for Kirk. He was playing great football before he got injured last year in 2023. And I really do think that this is going to get done by the end of today. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that Kirk Cousins news update. However, the rumors are he could be on his way to Atlanta, and it's definitely possible that he ends up going there. All right, Zach Robinson, the new OC there in Atlanta, plays the exact same offense as Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota, so it fit him like a glove. They've got some nice weapons on offense there with Bijan Robinson, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts. I don't think it's on the same level as what Minnesota has, but at the end of the day, man, his wife's from the Atlanta area, and this absolutely could happen, especially if Atlanta is willing to pony up the dough. Diana Rossini reported today that the Vikings are expecting to hear from Kirk Cousins tonight on his decision to explore free agency, sources tell me and Alec Lewis. Of note, his contract does not void until Wednesday, so the team will have until then to extend him before his dead cap hit officially hits the books for 2024. And if you're the Minnesota Vikings, you really, really, really do not want that dead cap hit to hit on Wednesday. So predict it for me down there in the comments section. Where is Kirk Cousins going to play in 2024? Type MIN for the Minnesota Vikings or ATL for the Atlanta Falcons. I personally think, guys, he's going to be a Minnesota Viking. I think they're going to get the deal done, and it could actually happen tonight. But answer this question for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. Then we go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I think that they will get a deal done with Baker Mayfield. And honestly, guys, this is something that works out for both parties, in my opinion. Like the Minnesota Vikings, the Buccaneers will have to take on a dead cap hit if Baker Mayfield does not end up coming back to the team, which is something they don't want to do. It's not $28.5 million, but it is $2.5, and that you'd rather have Baker on your roster. Also, this team just won a playoff game with Mayfield as their quarterback last year. Now, granted, it was against the deteriorating Philadelphia Eagles team, but at the end of the day, man, this guy worked out for you last year. And really, what are the better options for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in free agency? I don't really see the realistic options that they could get that would be upgrades over Baker Mayfield. So if you're the Buccaneers, in my opinion, you pony up the dough and you pay Baker Mayfield. Then we shift to the Pittsburgh Steelers here, and I do think it will be Russell Wilson. Wilson's been going on a tour of different teams. He's already visited with the Giants. Of course, he had a very lengthy visit with the Pittsburgh Steelers this weekend, and the reports are that he's going to be visiting with the Las Vegas Raiders early this week as well. But I do think the Pittsburgh Steelers are the right fit, and this is what Jeremy Fowler from ESPN had to say earlier this morning about the potential fit. Pittsburgh's interest in Wilson is indeed real, as was assured to me by a team source. Wilson arrived at the Steelers facility on Friday afternoon and had what a source described as a very positive meeting with the club. I'm told Wilson is eager to help his new team on the contract front and enters the free agency process looking not only to the chance to win, but also a team with an infrastructure for winning, and has done it consistently. Pittsburgh fits that mold. Let's see how this shakes out, but the Steelers appear well positioned, and I absolutely agree with this because I think it works out for both sides here. From Russell Wilson's perspective and what he's looking for somewhere where he can potentially compete for Super Bowls. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, out of all the teams where he could sign, give him the best possible chance at doing that. They have a great head coach in Mike Tomlin, a great defense led by T.J. Watt, some really nice offensive weapons led by George Pickens and Deontay Johnson, a good tight end, and Pat Freiermuth, and two really good running backs in Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren, plus an OC that knows what he's doing in Arthur Smith. So this is the infrastructure that he's looking for. And then from the Steelers' point of view, you get this guy at $1.21 million, the vet minimum most likely, and he brings the playmaking and the playoff experience that could potentially land the Pittsburgh Steelers in the playoffs and potentially give them a shot to go on a run, even in a loaded AFC. And guys, Russell Wilson is still a pretty darn good quarterback. He's a lot better than people think. Because things didn't go well in Denver, people think that he's absolutely terrible. But let's just compare his numbers to Patrick Mahomes last season. And I'm not saying that Russell Wilson is better than Patrick Mahomes, so chill your tits a little bit watching at home, okay? But look at these numbers, all right? They are comparable to the guy that many people are calling already the greatest quarterback of all time. He was fourth in the league in adjusted completion percentage. Mahomes was third. The yards per attempt, very similar. A higher touchdown percentage. He still has that great deep ball, a lower interception percentage, and a higher quarterback rating. Russell Wilson was top 10 in that category last year, and it's way better than what they have right now. Let's be honest with ourselves, okay? Kenny Pickett is not the type of guy that's going to lead you to a Super Bowl next year, whereas Russell Wilson, with the weapons that they have, with the defense that they have, with the infrastructure that's in place, he could potentially do that. As you can see right here, his numbers are way better than what they had last year in Kenny Pickett. It's not even a discussion. And even if you look at a guy like Kirk Cousins, right? Kirk Cousins, same age as Russell Wilson. They were drafted in the same draft class. Kirk Cousins is expected to get 35, 40, even more than that, guaranteed in free agency. Russell Wilson can be had for $1.2 million, the vet minimum. And you look at these numbers, they're very comparable. In fact, Russell Wilson was more accurate. He had a higher touchdown percentage and a higher big-time throw percentage than Kirk last year. So I actually think Russell Wilson is one of the better quarterbacks on the free agency market this year, if not the best. And he comes at the best value at $1.2 million. I think this would be a great move for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Is Russell Wilson a top 15 NFL quarterback right now? Give me a yes or no to let me know how you're feeling about Russ at this point in his career. Then the big mystery in the National Football League is where the hell is Justin Fields going to be playing in 2024? I think he's going to be a New York Giant. I think he is a perfect fit for what the New York Giants want to do and what they like in an NFL quarterback. You look at what Brian Daboll was able to do with Josh Allen in his career. Remember, Josh Allen, the first two years of his career, a very raw quarterback that was not the star that we know him today to be. Justin Fields, very similar mold. He's been getting better as a passer throughout his time in the NFL, but he hasn't quite had that breakout season. I think Brian Daboll in New York would give him the best opportunity to do that. And I think the Giants would love to trade up into the top 3 to take Drake May or even Jaden Daniels, but it doesn't seem to me like the Bears, the Commanders, or the Patriots are going to want to drop out of their positioning there in the top 3 in the NFL draft. And the next 3 guys on the list, Bo Nix, J.J. McCarthy, and Michael Penix Jr., I don't really see as true fits in a Brian Daboll system that really asks the quarterback to throw the ball down the field more often. So I do think Justin Fields could be the move here, especially if the Giants feel they can't move up. And right now the asking price, I think, is going to be around the 4th-round pick, something like that, maybe a 3rd-round pick. And if it's the 4th-round pick here, the Bears get pick number 106. The Giants get a quarterback in Justin Fields, a cheap option because that's what you need if you're the Giants, because you're paying Daniel Jones over $45 million against the cap next year. You need something cheap. You need something that's going to be reliably on the field next season, because we don't even know if Jones is going to be able to practice by the start of the season. So I do think Justin Fields could be the move. I think he's the athletic profile Brian Daboll looks for. And if I'm Justin Fields, I want to go to Daboll because he could save my NFL career. Now let's move on to the Atlanta Falcons. And they're kind of an odd team out here because I do think they're going to try to get Cousins, and I do think they're going to try to get Mayfield. Unfortunately, I don't think they land either one of them. So I think they go out and get a bridge quarterback here in Gardner Minshew, who played pretty decently last year. Let's be honest with ourselves here. 15 touchdowns to 9 interceptions, nearly led the Colts to the playoffs in Anthony Richardson's absence. So, he's not a great quarterback. He's very inconsistent in his play, but you could do a lot worse than Gardner Minshew in terms of being a bridge quarterback. And the reason why I do think Atlanta would be fine with this is because those 3 kind of, after the top 3 quarterbacks in this year's NFL draft, the next tier of quarterbacks, so to speak, J.J. McCarthy, Bo Nix, and Michael Penix Jr., I think are all fits for the offense that Zach Robinson wants to play. I think all these guys are capable of playing within structure. I think they're all able to work from the pocket and mentally process defenses. I like the fit with all these 3 guys, and with Atlanta being in the top 10, they're in position to take a quarterback. So I think they take Gardner Minshew as the short-term stopgap, bridge-type quarterback, and then they're going to take one of these 3 guys when their pick comes up at number 8. And then we'll go to the New England Patriots here. And speaking of bridge quarterbacks, Jacoby Brissett, I think, will be on his way to New England. He has a connection to the new OC there in New England, and Alex Van Pelt when he was in Cleveland a couple seasons back. Remember that season? That was the year Deshaun Watson was serving his suspension for the first about half of the season. And Brissett actually played pretty darn well in that scenario. Last year with the Commanders, had a really good Pro Football Focus grade of 84.6 when he got the opportunity to play. Every single drive where he had a pass attempt, the Commanders scored a touchdown, all right? So very efficient. I think he's a really, really good bridge quarterback, might be the best bridge quarterback available. And with the Patriots probably looking to draft a quarterback at number 3, I do think that they want Brissett in there as the bridge and to mentor their new rookie quarterback, most likely either Drake May or Jaden Daniels. Then we get to the Las Vegas Raiders, and I think Raiders fans are not going to like this, but you know what? I think this has Raiders written all over it. Mason Rudolph, formerly with the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think is what the Las Vegas Raiders would look for in terms of a bridge quarterback. It's been well reported that Antonio Pierce and the Raiders are looking to draft a quarterback, and Rudolph is somebody that played in that Steelers offense towards the end of the season, the last 3 weeks of the season. He had the highest quarterback rating of any quarterback in the league last year with at least 50 pass attempts at 118. Really good there. And then also Las Vegas, you could tell, was impressed by that stretch because they interviewed Mike Sullivan, the interim OC there in Pittsburgh, for their offensive coordinator job before they hired Luke Getsy. And I do think Rudolph's skill set matches what their new OC this year, Luke Getsy, wants to do with the offense. So look for the Raiders to be hunting a quarterback in the NFL draft, potentially trading up to get their guy. Personally, guys, I think Michael Penix Jr. might be the fit here in Las Vegas. And then also a team that I don't have a free agent quarterback going to, but I do think will be on the hunt for a quarterback in the draft is Sean Payton's Denver Broncos. I think they like Jarrett Stidham as a potential bridge quarterback / backup. I think they like him a lot in that regard, but I do think that they're probably going to have their eyes set on either Bo Nix or J.J. McCarthy in the NFL draft this year. Both of those guys fit what Sean Payton likes in a signal caller for his offense. All right, so those are my predictions. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section, what you guys think. And then for more updates, go follow me on Twitter at Jack_Sperry. I'm putting out my first NFL mock draft on my Twitter in the coming days. You're not going to want to miss that. And then I also have all my predictions and all the updates for NFL free agency on there as well. So again, at Jack_Sperry. And make sure you click that subscribe button because we're going to be right here tomorrow morning breaking down NFL free agency live for you guys, breaking down all the big moves and all the signings and all the agreements that are made tomorrow. So make sure you click that subscribe button. And until tomorrow, guys, see you later.